What's up, everybody? It's your favorite tiebreaker's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the combined Skylynx from MMC. For those that haven't been watching my coverage of this, I really enjoyed the Lynx, didn't care much for the Sky. We'll have to see how it works in concert. Once again, both of these are on loan to me from Robert D. Very kind of him to send them forward so that I can take a look at them, pass that information on to you, and send them back on their merry way. With that being said, let's start combining. So we gotta get these feet put away. Feet. So let's open up all this stuff that we just talked about recently. These pieces here, disconnect, allow for a little movement, if you will. Get this up, and I'm not sure if it's best to have these doors open and out to the side when you do this, but I'm doing it because I just want extra clearance. On the underside, collapse the heel spurs, collapse your toes, and you want to lay the foot against the upper shin, or I guess this is only one shin, isn't it? And tuck the legs back inside the body of the shuttle. This way the feet are looking, the back of the feet, or the bottom of the feet rather, will be looking at you on this side of the shuttle, because these prongs here line up with the toes on the feet. And then we're just gonna close it up. Make sure that your little cover is out, and tab in your side pieces. And then we're gonna close, oh, this thing constantly falling off. We're gonna close these flaps back up on the back of the shuttle. On the underside, this kind of forms this chest plate. You need to pop this stuff off, bring it around, spin it 360 or 180. You know, I've been messing that up recently. What's going on there? And then just get this out of the way. We got to get these legs outstretched, which we've kind of shown before, but we'll go through it again. And we'll do this side. And this last one. Then orient all your legs by spinning the biceps, for lack of a better term, where needed, mainly at the front. And then you can kind of position the legs as you want them after you have it sort of sorted. And then we got to connect it. And it's this tab here and this one here that locks into here and in between these gold pieces. Make sure you have the body nice and collapsed. Boom. Wasn't as difficult as I thought it was gonna be. Let me get him cleaned up, we'll take a look at him. And there he is. And the good news is he works pretty well combined. So that was a concern of mine after dealing with the Lynx, or the Sky, I guess, part of it. But he works pretty well combined. My neck is still a little, like, it's not terrible. You know, it's just like, it would have been fixed with one ratchet. It's just frustrating in that regard. But same articulation, they're all hinges attached to ball pegs, it feels like. So you can get the head up all the way, down a good bit, side to side fairly well. The jaw obviously opens up to an insane angle, which is fantastic. That's really well done. The wings, same as before, ratchet here, so you get up all the way pretty much. Yep, yeah, I'd say so. Down a good bit. You lose your turns because it bumps into the Lynx part. You get a little bit, you know what I mean, but you lose the wide range there, but that should be expected. And then the wings fold here and then here, so you can give those a little bit of personality as well. The front legs ratchet here at the side. They also ratchet outward, which is nice. Bicep swivel, for lack of a better term. Double jointed knees, so you can get the more of an animal-esque look, or you can extend them straight out depending on what you want. And then the ankles tilt up, tilt down. You can actually maneuver these, the heel spurs. They're on a hinge, so you can get those outward, which is nice because it helps with stability and posing. And then they rock to a great angle. And all the toes, well, the front toe is on a hinge, and then the back toes all hinge at the same spot. But they travel the whole length, if that makes sense. And then the back legs, same, ratcheted forward and back, ratcheted outward. It's a little bit more of a limited range. Bicep swivel, for lack of a better term. Knees are designed the same, and then the feet are designed the same. And then for the tail, it's what we just talked about, but might as well show it. You get up to about there, down to there. My tail doesn't stay in that spot. That one ratchet would have fixed that as well. And then all of the connecting hinges, all of the connecting points also hinge, so you can get the tail out and around. And then this part of the tail. What's frustrating about this is that it's really well done, but just a few pieces of hardware would have made it just almost perfect. You know, that's kind of what's frustrating. It's like it's so close to being spot on, and there's just a few things that would make it a little bit better. Let's do some size comparisons. So there he is with the Planet X Deathsaurus, and I chose this one specifically because size, I think, is an issue and a focus with Skylynx, and he's not that. I mean, like, he's not that much bigger than him. He's longer, so to speak, but he's not that much bigger. But it's still, I mean, it's a presence piece. There's no doubt about it. But I think a fair amount of folks may be a little disappointed with his general size. And I'm speaking obviously for myself, and I don't mean to speak for you. But let's show a few more examples and see how we feel. There's a size comparison with him with Swerve, and I like that a fair bit. I think that might be the key to this guy. If you're gonna display him, is to display him with maybe Swerve and tailgate. I will say my tailgate is having some issues in his latter years. But, you know, like, that would look cool. That would be a cool setup. I wish Make Toys would get back to some IDW stuff, but I think that you'd be happy in a display like this. But even moving up to, like, deluxe levels, it just starts to kind of fall apart, I think. Like, it just doesn't seem big enough to me. Obviously, that's subjective, and maybe with, you know, the Hasbro Deluxe, I guess you could even say Rodimus is a Voyager. You know, that's not as hateful. Let me get rid of him. Take a look. Like, that's not bothersome. You might be able to get deluxes in there. Especially the Siege ones are even a little bit smaller, so that might work. But I think once you get into larger Voyagers, or especially masterpieces, the suspension of disbelief just begins to kind of fall apart. Now, to be fair, I haven't read a lot of the IDW comics where Skylynx becomes a larger player. And that was kind of after I stopped reading half of their releases and just sort of stuck with the MTMTE books. So I don't really know how big he's supposed to be in the comics. And I could be way off. This could be right on the money. It's just something about it doesn't feel right to me. And that might be just my connection to G1, and I might just have a skewed view on it. I'm willing to admit that. I just don't know. But I know they did him in the Combiner Wars books heavy, and then they put the Combiner Wars toy out, or maybe it's Powder Primes or Titan Returns, whatever it was. And I would imagine that they would want him to be roughly the same size as a Combiner, but he's not for the scale. So I don't know. It's going to really come down to how you view his size and how important that size is to you. But like I said, I think getting away with it with Legends class figures, or even, you know, figures that are for the kind of the main deluxe chug line, but are just happen to be Legends class, I think will work really well. I also want to say, because I don't think I've seen any pictures of this. Maybe I have and just haven't paid attention. You can get it in this alt mode. It's a little much, but it does work, and I think that's a cool thing. You can't have this white piece flush up against the bottom, I don't think, but you might even be able to. You probably can, but either way, it doesn't look bad, and I think it's pretty cool that you can kind of get this. As you can see, I still can't get my side wings tabbed in spite of everyone saying that they're having no problem. I envy them, because mine are not going. Well, Robert's rather. But yeah, I think that's pretty sweet. We'll do a little, you know what you need in your life. TT. Final thoughts wise, let's talk about the negatives. And they mainly are associated with the sky element. The problem with doing this sort of review is that I can't blame Skylynx for the fault of Sky. And I can't praise Skylynx for the achievements of Lynx. So I'm going to try to talk about this only as it relates to the elements that make up the combined mode. This is pretty well done. However, if it had ratchets in the tail and ratchets in the neck, it would have helped with the stability of creating poses that you would find dynamic and easy to accomplish within a display. We just talked about that. However, it wouldn't have hurt to have ratchets in the knees of Lynx as well. There's nice, great, strong ratchets in the shoulders, which help a lot, but it also would have helped with knees for strong positioning. Subjectively, I do think that this lacks a certain oomph. It's not that it's a bad piece. I think you just expect for it to have a stronger presence than what it ends up having. Elements of that come down to sculpt, elements of that come down to size, and elements of that come down to paint. Now, we shouldn't really expect a ton of paint with MMC Reformatted products. They don't usually do it. However, if they were going to do it, it might be on a piece like this where they would get the biggest bang for their buck, both literally and figuratively. On the positive side, it is extremely well articulated, especially for its size, mass, and the combination element. The combination element works really well. It's super secure. You shouldn't have an issue at all with the solidity of the Skylynx mode. It's fairly clean, and combined, it does feel great. However, most of that is standing on the shoulders of Lynx. So recommendation time. I can recommend this. I think that in combined mode, you will be happy with this if you are happy with the size. But if I were you, I would consider the entire process as purchasing two pieces that make one toy. And in that regard, I think you'll be satisfied. If you're trying to buy two separate toys, I think you're going to be more satisfied with one over the other. But the good news and saving grace is the main character, as you mostly know him, works really well. Thanks to Robert again, and thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.